I'm going to continue reading this book because this book is full of so much information that if I had money, put it to you this way, if I had money, like say I had an extra grand laying around, okay, I'd buy 10 copies of this book. 10 copies of this book and 10 copies of the Complete Guide to Asperger Syndrome and give them to the 10 most closest people that I know. That's what I would do because it's so full of information. I'm going to continue reading because I read something in here that I think needs to be shared. And it's on page 173 on the bottom. Chronic stress means less emotional resilience. And that resilience is a key term in the mental health recovery model. It's not the clinical model. That word resilience is in the recovery model. And it caught my eye. This chronic high level of arousal also means that people with AS have a lower tolerance for and less resilience to dealing with both their own and others' emotions. This is especially true for negative feelings such as anger and frustration. I experience those often. This lack of resilience often results in emotional outbursts by people with AS that, from the view of the observer, are way out of proportion to the situation. And that's the point that's the part because that rings true for me. I can't tell you how much that rings true. If the NT does not understand that the person with AS may be chronically overly aroused physiologically, have a lower tolerance to stress, and a lack of skill to deal easily with his or her own feelings, the NT may be shocked at the degree of reaction from the person with AS and judge the person unfairly. AS-NT differences in recovery from emotional outbursts. As you think about the AS-NT relationship, it's important to keep in mind that even if the NT understands that the person with AS may be prone to these emotional outbursts, these episodes are still likely to be very upsetting to the NT. It will probably take the NT a while to get over them. This is especially the case if the person with AST has lashed out or attacked the NT. But the person with AS, once an outburst has run its course, he will have said or done what he needed to do to get the issue out of his system and will move on and behave as though nothing has happened. It is likely to take the NT much longer to get over the attack. But as we have noted many times in this book, people with AS usually are not aware of the impact of their behavior on others, and as a result, they will not understand why NTs are still upset. The differences in the understanding of the situation and the recovery time between AS and NTs often result in the person with AS becoming annoyed if the NT continues to be upset or wants to discuss what happened. The NT finds this frustrating and hard to cope with and is usually left with feelings of anger. The situation becomes yet one more occasion of pain and misunderstanding to plague the relationship. I'm not going to read the scenario in here. I'm going to actually skip because there's too much detail in it. What are ways of coping with exhaustion and stress? 1. If you have AS, watch out for feelings for being too stimulated and overtired. These are times when you are more likely to over-respond and lose control. 2. Take a time out. Get away by yourself and get some recovery time. 3. If you are an NT, recognize the signs of an overloaded nervous system in people with AS and give them space and privacy. Changes in routine having to spend extended time with others, especially people they do not know, are often struggles for individuals with AS. In such times of stress for many individuals with AS, the need to engage in their special interests increases significantly. Being involved with the special interests helps the person with AS to feel more comfortable and in control. This is, in this situation, okay, it talks about Matt's stress level, and there's a story here. You need to read the story to get it. I'm not going to read that part because I didn't read the story. How can a person with AS cope with stressful situations? Once again, being aware of the change in routine, house guest in this case, it's the story, can trigger stress means that the person with AS can plan to excuse himself early and seek out some solitude. It's helpful to keep a journal of the things that are overstressful to the person with AS will know. So the person with AS will know what to watch out for. I've kept a journal. I've started a journal. About every day when I was in Bible college, I kept a journal from 1997 to 2001. I'd say just about every day, and kept a journal here off and on. I go back in my journal and I see, oh, I wrote sometime in 2002, for 3 or 4 months. And then I'll stop it, and then I'll pick up a journal in 2004, and then I'll stop it and pick it up again. And I've pretty much been writing every day in my journal. Oh, excuse me. I'm still waking up from last night. I started my journal around April 11th, and I like to go this year, and I like to go back and read it to see what I was dealing with, and I can see different things that I was upset with, and I can see what I wrote about, and I can see what I dwelt on, because that's important. Seeing what you dwell on is a very important thing, because what you dwell on, you dwell in. And also I can see how I handled the situation. And it's just shocking to see things that I wrote, back in 2002, and I tell myself, why did I make such a big deal out of that situation? But at the time, it was important to me. It was, at the time I was trying to make a point. And, I look back and I think, oh, I really didn't handle that right, or I made a big deal out of nothing. And I know, and more than likely, come in the coming months, and definitely in the coming years, as I get more experience with life, I'm probably more than likely going to read back on the events of 2011, and I had a lot of stuff happen. A lot of things happened. A lot of things didn't happen that I expected to happen, and they never happened, or they haven't happened yet. And I'm probably going to say down the road, why did I make such a big deal out of it? Not only just that, but why did I draw so much attention to it? Such as drawing attention that I'm not employed. I keep on drawing attention to that in my journal. I need a job, I need a job, I need a job, I need a job, I need a job. Over and over again, I'll write the same thing. When is someone going to hire me? When is someone going to hire me? I need a job. And I'll put down there, like, for a particular day, I may put down in there, oh, I searched for, or I applied to, or I emailed, or I applied online to 15 different jobs today. And the next day, I'll say I applied to, or emailed, or I applied online to 20 different jobs today. And then I'll put down, oh, for the whole month, I applied to, or I emailed 60 jobs this month. And I know in May, I applied to about 80 jobs. I know I did. I have email records of everyone that I emailed. And I got several emails back. Probably about 15 out of the 80. And, I just, I haven't heard from anyone. No one called or anything, but I got email responses, and some of them helped me. I got one to help me with my resume for free. But I think it's important to have a journal so you can see how you deal with things. And not only to see how you deal with things, but see how you look at things. See how you perceive things to be. I can't do any more videos on this at this time. I'm going to have to write a report. This book has nothing to do with autism, but it has everything to do with change management. And if you know anything about autism, or if you're a person with autism, you're probably going to know you have a difficulty with change, especially unexpected change. This book by Ian Palmer, Richard Dunford, and Gib Aiken is a very excellent book to rent. If you have money, you can buy it. You get it from a book renter. Rent it for 30 days, rent it for 45 days, you can rent it for 60 days, you can rent it for a whole semester, which is like 3 months, 4 months. Or you can just buy it used, or you can go to the library. If you want to be a manager, you're probably going to want to read that book because it deals with change management and the 6 different images, and then it deals with how to diagnose change in organizations, and then it goes into the actual theories behind it, and it's very theory heavy. It's extremely theory heavy. But it's probably going to be very useful for the person with autism. The only problem with it is I can see some issues where people with autism will not be able to do some of the things that it says in there because of the executive function difficulties and the weak central coherence difficulties. Later in the week, maybe even by July, when I'm done with this class and when I have my very last class, when the capstone starts like July 2nd or something like that. Maybe by then I will report a little bit on Tony Atwood's book. It's a very large book, and I flipped through it a little bit. Didn't really highlight anything. I just flipped through the pages to see what's in there, and I can tell that it's going to take me some time to read it and to get into it and to understand it. And I've been wanting that book for some time. So if you know anyone with AS, or if you know anyone with autism, if you don't really know a lot about it, I would suggest you research, get books, and you can do research online if you want, and learn about the person, because it's going to help you understand what that person is going through. And I must make it clear, children stay children for only 18 years, and people forget that children grow up. I don't know why people forget this, but children grow up. And as a person, people spend most of their lives are spent as an adult. I know there's exceptions to the rule. What if you die at the age of 10? Or what if you die at the age of 21? You only live 3 years of your life as an adult. There are exceptions, but traditionally speaking, people live most of their lives in the world as an adult. And you need to address those things. You can't think when your child's 12, I'll worry about it when you get there. You should be reading about this stuff now when your child is 10. So you can see the difficulties that are going on and see what issues are going on and take steps and plan for it in the future. Because you don't want to be broadsided with all this stuff because you never took the time to read up on this stuff as an adult. It doesn't go away, folks. Autism and Asperger Syndrome doesn't go away. It's there forever. There's no magic pill to get rid of it. There's no cure. Some people don't want a cure. What is it? Is it Talk about curing autism? Why would I want to cure it? That's just me personally. Why would I want to cure it? I don't think it's something to be cured. So, yeah. I'm going to sign out, and hopefully you can, do your research on this stuff and get these books. Rent them. If you don't have the money, you can rent them for free.